So Representative Ayanna Pressley is calling on President Joe Biden to grant clemency to at least 100 women before his first 100 days are over in office. Women of color have been significantly overrepresented in the criminal justice system, and most of the women on the list for clemency are from California. Our M. Nguyen joins us from Washington, D.C. with more. Good morning, M. I understand you spoke with a woman from Los Angeles whose mother is in prison. Is that right?
That's exactly right, Giselle. Miquelle West's mother actually raised her while she was still behind bars. Before Miquelle was even a teenager, her mom was sent to prison. And Miquelle tells me, although of course she was hurting, although of course she had lost her mother to the criminal justice system, she did gain one thing, Giselle, and that was her purpose in life.
Joe Biden! Free her! Joe Biden! Free her!
Together, these women call on President Biden to release 100 incarcerated women in his first 100 days. At the top of the list, Miquelle West. Her daughter, Miquelle, a top fashion stylist in Los Angeles, fights for her mother's freedom.
I learned very early that life can change really fast.
Miquelle was 10 years old when her mom was sent to prison on charges of conspiracy to aiding and abetting a drug-related murder. The gunman was granted immunity in exchange for testimony, so her mother now serves 2 life sentences plus 50 years while the killer walks free.
I felt sad in that I had lost my best friend. There is injustice because if the gunman didn't receive any time, my mom shouldn't have received as much time.
One of Miquelle's highest points was followed by one of her lowest. President Obama had invited her to the White House in 2016, yet in 2017 her mother's clemency was denied.
For me, it was horrific. It made me feel that there was hope and that my mom was on her way home, and nothing changed. I just was somewhat used as a poster child for a clemency conversation.
Now Miquelle's hope rises again as she surrounds herself with the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. The founder, Andrea James, served 2 years for mortgage fraud and realized thousands of women were trapped on what she believes are unfair sentences.
I walked into a prison crammed full of women that had been there for more than 20 years. They had been separated from their children. They had been away from their communities. It had disrupted their families. And so we're here. We organized ourselves in that prison.
James says their main goal is to see the end of mass incarceration for women and girls. And some powerful congresswomen like Representative Ayanna Pressley are listening.
The people closest to the pain should be the closest to the power, driving and informing the policy making.
The pain all too familiar for Miquelle, but she's not the same 10-year-old. She knows what she's fighting for and keeps her mom informed of her accomplishments.
She's proud of the fact that I advocate for her and for others, and I stand up for my mom, and I haven't forgotten her, and I won't forget my mom.
Miquelle is determined to get President Biden to consider her mother's case again. The National Council says 80% of women in prison are also mothers, and that this legal system disproportionately oppresses black women. Now, they have a long list of changes they want for prison reform and criminal justice reform, but right now they tell me they are focused on getting President Biden to hear their voice and grant clemency to at least 100 women in his first 100 days. Giselle.
Wow, people closest to the pain should be closest to the power. How powerful is that? I do want to ask you about something else coming out this morning. House Minority Leader Kevin